One, two, 3, 4. Prepare the way. All these people make straight a path. For Yeshua's coming back, so we lift up as the mighty voice. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah. Prepare the way. All these people make straight a path. For Yeshua's coming back, so we lift up as the mighty voice. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah. For he's coming in clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him. He'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He's calling us in, so be ready. For Yeshua is coming again. Prepare the way. All these people make straight a path. For Yeshua is coming back, so we lift up as a mighty voice. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah. For he's coming in clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him. He'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He is calling us in, so be ready. For Yeshua is coming again. The Son of Man who died for our sins was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, O people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called the Son of Man who died for our sins, was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, O people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called the Son of Man who died for our sins, was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, O people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called the Son of Man who died for our sins, was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, O people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called. For he's coming in the clouds, his glory renowned. Make a path for him, and he'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He is calling us in, for he's coming in the clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him, he'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He is calling us in, so be ready. For Yeshua is coming again. He's coming in again.
All right, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. Brothers and sisters, Shalomi, homies. My name is Jason.
I'm Caden. I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah YouTube channel, Rumble channel, Odyssey channel, and we are the people of our Creator. Now, thank you guys very, very, very much for being a part of our little reading here. This is an amazing time that we get to spend with all of you guys out there. And for anybody that has never been part of this reading that we do right here, guys, we are the people who believe all of the scriptures. From the very first page and the very first set of commandments that say be fruitful, all the way to the very end of the Apocrypha, we believe what the scriptures tell us. And in these scriptures, the scriptures tell us that there's a path, there's a covenanted path, a path that all of us can take. And all of us come from the depths of depravity. We all come from our own prisons. We all come from our own iniquity and our own sins. And we have been called out of this because our Creator has given us a way forward. He says simply that if you will obey my laws, my statutes, and my commandments, I will be your Elohim and you will be my people. And guys, that is absolutely huge, because the creator of the universe is an incredible, immaculate designer with imaginable ways that it's really hard to fathom the creation of our creator and the ways he set forward. And to be an entity that has been created, that our creator has said, I will come for you, I will deliver you, I will be your leader, that is something very, very amazing. Because by default, if we don't take him up on his offer as being our leader, our supreme commander, the way forward, then by default, we are serving the powers of darkness. We're serving Hasatan. We're serving the world. And we are called to be out of this world. We are called to be completely set apart differently. If you look like the world, celebrating the world's festivities and the Christmas, Easter, and all these pagan holidays, then you're like the world. If you're out there worshiping on a Sunday, the day of the sun, Sol Victus, then you're part of the world. Congratulations, you have made a place that most people make. Now, when you read scriptures, and I love to bring up Matthew 7, because Matthew 7 is one of these verses that it's very, very clear that if you are Torahless, if you say that the first 5 books of scriptures have been nailed to the cross or on the tree or in the ditch because they don't matter to us, then by default, you are serving Satan. And so as we have been given a covenanted path, a path of a promise, we are those people who want to take our Creator up on his promise, and we want to be loyal to him like he has been to us. And so the greatest things that we have ever been given is the Torah. That is the lifeblood of all of us. And when we see it and when we find it and when you start experiencing the Torah, it is literally an oxygen tank that has been put on you, that you are able to walk and breathe and operate on these lands that our Creator has given to us. And every single day is a day to praise, but today is an appointed time of praise that we are sitting here fulfilling the commandments of the covenant path of our Creator. So with that, everybody, we would like to say hello. Much love to you all. Cade, will you please open us up in prayer?
Heavenly Father, thank you once again for bringing us all together as a united family, seeking your ways, seeking your Torah. Looking for your Shabbat, we ask that your Ruach is upon us today as we dive into your words, we dive into the commands, we dive into the words of your Son, that it is all clear to us today, that our eyes are open, and that we understand the Torah, we understand your Son, we understand what you have set out before us in life, what you have set out for your people to find. And we ask that it is blessed today, that your Shabbat charged everyone. It's a day that everyone can find as a holy convocation to open up into your word and spend time with you in your name. Amen.
Okay. All right. So Jade, will you please offer us up the Shema? And for those who do not know the Shema, this is one of these verses that is number one, it's a Trinity breaker. It's one of these things that when you believe that the Father and the Son and the Ruach HaKodesh are all the same giant egg, well, we have what they call biblical hermeneutics. And the point of biblical hermeneutics is that if there is a point that is established at the beginning of the book, that same point cannot be changed. Say, for instance, that the Bible calls the children of Israel lilies in a field. You can't go later and say that the children of Israel are rocks in a field. We know that they have been implied as lilies of the field. The same thing for all of us. When we have verses that say our Creator is one, if he is two, then we've been lied to inside of scriptures. And we know that our Creator is against lying, deception, and we know he's not down here offering a grift. He's not grifting us. So Jade, will you please Shema our brothers and sisters?
Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
Okay, so guys, what we're talking about right here is we're talking about the Torah. We are talking about the first 5 books of scriptures. And in this verse, we are told that we need to write them on our heart. We're impressing them. Guys, when you impress something into your children, guys, you're not just simply stating something, right? When you impress something into your children, you leave an impression mark, right? They should not know that you were there teaching Torah unless they walk away with an impression of the Torah on their heart, mind, and soul. And so this little set of verses right here that we talk about, it's everything, right? When you take the Torah, the laws of our Creator, and you write them on your heart, you impress them up on your children, you speak of them in your house, you talk about them when you get up, you talk about them when you go to bed, they're a part of your life. That's what the Torah is, guys. The Torah is not a religion. We are not in a religion. We are in a way forward. We are in a point of life that our Creator has given us, a set of doctrine that He says, if you will obey and you will keep, I will give you a long life. I will keep life blessed. But guys, there's also the opposite. When we have decided that we don't want the Torah, that we're not impressing it on our children, we don't care about it in the morning, we don't care about it at night, we don't care about it, we inherit a tremendous amount of curses. And it is in these curses that we don't want to be cursed, right? Is anyone out there, raise your hand if you want curses, right? We don't want curses, right? We don't want to upset our Creator. And so with that, Miss Nicole, will you please give a shout out to all of our brothers and sisters out there?
All right, we have Miss Sarah Baker, we have Joanna, Razul, Walk in His Ways, Jeremy and Callan, excuse me, Honeymoon Stitch, Brian. We have Heidi, Jean Out of This World, Sister Barb is back, Andy and Elizabeth. Scrolling, we have
Woo, 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 woo.
The Grand, Rick Johnson, Mama CA, and Rebecca Riz. I think that's everybody.
And we have Mr. William as well, Baker. Sarah just said that her husband's sitting there listening in. William, what is up, brother? Good to hear from you. Good to have you there. Much love to you. And a special big shout out to my brother, Noe Gonzalez. This brother I've been talking to for a very long time. He is, what's the date today? It is the 18th. He's been out since the 2nd. This brother is 16 days free after doing a 12-year bid. And he was a leader amongst leaders inside of the prisons. And I shipped more scriptures into Texas because of this individual right here than any other prison anywhere. I am so excited to have my brother out here. I'm so excited that he is free. And guys, if you guys would please lift Brother Noe up in prayer that he is able to secure his freedom completely, that he is able to keep on keeping this Torah. Guys, he was a shining light in the middle of a dark, dark depravity. There is more. This guy is literally a celebrity inside of prisons because this guy was hardcore Torah. This guy would tell you what to eat, what not to eat. He was in basically telling people what's up. And it was either Yah's way or no way when it came with Noe. And it is because of his time that he did. And over the last year and all the brothers that I was able to meet through him, that it has continued on. This cat may be out of prison and starting his life, but he started a light inside these prisons. And I'm still getting guys' names that we're shipping scriptures into. And so the hand of our Creator can take those who are at the very bottom. He can take anything, and it doesn't matter. We all come from depravity, right? I was a straight up raging Gentile coming out of their Gentile ways. And I was on my road to hell. My entire family was on the road to hell until we found the Torah. We do not deserve the grace that our Creator has given to us and the ability for us to open our eyes and to be able to see this. But our Creator knows who are His, and He will grab us from these dark depths. And our Creator has instilled inside all of us that little urge, that little hope that we are striving to meet our Creator, to find our Creator, and to find His Son. And this is why it is so exciting being a part of Yah Scriptures. It is so exciting to be a part of this YouTube. teaching and reading where we can all sit and we can discuss this stuff and we can all love on our Creator, we can love on His Son, and we can look forward to the kingdom to come. Because, I don't know if there's anyone out there that's enjoying the world we are living in right now, but as you look at it, it is a cesspool. It is a pile of trash. One side of the U.S., they're completely burning off. Other places across the world, it is a very, very bad time in our life. And this is the time right now that we can find hope, that we can see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. And it begins in Torah. It begins on the very first page of Scriptures. And for those who have never read the first 5 books of Scriptures as a love letter from our Creator to you, this is it. This is the moment. Today is that day that you can pick this up and you guys can read this. And it's an invitation to the kingdom to come. It's an invitation to something that is out of this world, that is going to leave this world in the dust. And all of the problems and tragedies and issues we've ever had in this world, we got to make it through these times of testing. We have to make it, and it's going to be worth it, guys. It will absolutely be worth it. All right, so what we are going to do right now is we are going to go through these laws, statutes, and commandments, the most beautiful, wonderful, righteous pieces of knowledge that we have ever been given as a human race. This is it. Now, according to Apocrypha, these laws, statutes, and commandments were designed long before we were ever created. So as we are approaching into our 6,000th year of our creation, these laws, statutes, and commandments were around long before this, right? This is stuff that the messengers, this is stuff from our Messiah, this is stuff, everybody keeps the Shabbat, right? We are late to the game in creation because they were keeping Shabbat long before we were ever here. So let us go through these laws, statutes, and commandments. We are told to write these laws, statutes, and commandments on our heart, mind, and soul. It's supposed to be everything. This is supposed to be the most exciting parts of our day is right here. So here we begin. Let us begin. Commandment number 1 that is found in Scriptures. And guys, these are all in order in which they are found. Commandment number 1, be fruitful.
Multiply.
Replenish the earth.
Subdue it. Have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature.
Okay, the herb and every tree is for food.
Man and woman should build their own families.
Master sin.
Every clean, breathing thing that lives shall eat food for you.
Do not eat the blood.
Walk before me and be perfect.
Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments.
And guys, this command right here, I talk about this a lot. For those in the chat, we love you guys in the chat. We love the conversation. We love the questions. We love to, get off in the weeds, if you know what I mean, when you guys have questions about this. But this certain commandment is reiterated more than any other commandment in all of the Scriptures. Now, if you're ever in a fist fight and somebody says, put your guard up, that doesn't mean put your hands down. Absolutely, you're going to put your hands up and you're going to try to protect yourself from a scrapping. And so when it says to guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments, when people say the laws of our Creator have been nailed to the cross, and you just give it a nod up and down or you don't defend it, that's not what this means, right? When people come by and say blasphemous, evil things that, all we have is grace. It's grace, grace, grace. We have no laws. We have the Lord's Day to worship. All of these things are satanic. Worshiping on a Sunday when you are doing it on the Gregorian calendar, according to the rest of the Sol Victus people, is satanic. We have a seventh day precedent, and this is what we are set for. But every single one of these laws that we are reading right now fall under this list of guarding these laws. And so as you guys run through this crazy, corrupt world that we are in, and nearly every single person you run into, they have a religion, and they're all saved by their own salvation and by their own ways. But when you look at how are they saved or what do they say, Christians will say, once saved, always saved. When you look in simply one single chapter, Matthew 7, our Messiah says, depart from me, you who work Torahlessness. And again, he reiterated it at the bottom and says, depart from me, you who work Torahlessness. Now, this is not an invitation into the kingdom. This is a kick in your butt off to the depths of hell because you are working iniquity. And so Christians don't understand it because they believe that they only have the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit will tell them whatever they need to do. But at the same time, they're sitting there eating pig and praying over the pig and thinking that all food has been made clean. So if it was really the Ruach HaKodesh, if it was really the hand of our Creator that was talking to them, they wouldn't be simply eating this. They would be abhorred that they're letting this defiled food go across their lips. Okay, continuing on. Every male shall be circumcised at 8 days old.
Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah.
Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations.
Keep the Passover, Kesah.
Keep the feast of unleavened bread, the festival of Matzah.
There is one Torah for the stranger and the Hebrew.
Okay, again, I talk about this a lot, but this is the one verse that discredits every single religion. If you're Mormon, Catholic, Presbyterian, Lutheran, Buddhist, Muslim, it doesn't matter, because if you have another set of guidelines, if you have something else that somehow tells you you should be worshiping on a Sunday along with the rest of the Christians in a 501c3 church with a phallus of Nimrod at the top of it, then you are going against the Torah, right? Because we have a day that we should worship. We have a day that we should be doing this and congregating and doing this. And you can praise our Creator any day, right? We are supposed to be praising Him every single day. Every day should be a worship day. But as far as the day of rest, we have been given these things. And so when people are worshiping on the Sunday and their excuse is that, oh, that's the Lord's day. I'm like, show me in Scriptures where it says that the Sabbath day is gone because our Messiah rose on a first day or something of the sort. It doesn't exist. But people don't read their Scriptures, and so when they argue, it seems a little weird when they argue stuff that, you know, it's always Paul. Paul said this, Paul said that, and they're going to be saying that all the way to the end, and Paul will probably be the one judging them at the end. He's like, look, I never said any of this. You guys are doomed now. It's over. Okay, sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah.
There are no mighty ones before Yahuwah.
You shall not make graven images.
Do not bring Yahuwah's name, do not. Keep the Shabbat, the Sabbath day.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill. Do not break wedlock.
Do not steal.
Do not make false accusations against your neighbor.
Do not covet anything of your neighbor's.
Do not make an altar from rock that tool has touched.
Do not go up to the altar by the steps.
If a man steals cattle, he shall restore it 5 times.
Yahuwah's laws for criminals.
Do not lie with beasts.
No sacrifice to other Elohim.
Do not oppress a stranger, fatherless, or widow.
Do not charge your brother interest.
If you borrow your neighbor's raiment, return it to him before sunset.
Do not curse the ruler of your people.
Do not eat what is torn of any beast.
No false report.
Do not follow a multitude of evil.
Do not judge unrighteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray.
Help the animals of your enemy.
Stay away from rumors and gossipers.
Take no bribes.
Do not oppress a stranger. Love the stranger.
Give your land rest in the 7th year.
Do not mention any pagan names.
Keep the feast of Yahuwah.
Do not cook your goat in his mother's milk.
Obey the messenger Yahuwah sends before you.
Do not bow down to other Elohim.
Serve Yahuwah.
Make no covenant with other Elohim or outsiders of the land.
Do not make or use this anointing oil on a normal person, and do not make or use this perfume on a normal person.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you are going to do.
Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws.
Women's time of separation. Now, I want to go up to the women, obey Yahuwah's dietary laws, because there's, you know, I got another letter from a brother in chains, and he was talking about this, and you know, the thing is, when I start talking to these brothers and sisters in chains, it's the same thing as everybody from the outside world. You know, we get, I don't know how many hundreds of different Christians come across the channel every single month, and every single one of them come with, it's basically mind control. It's mind control stuff that people believe things that are not real when it comes to Scriptures, because somebody who has never truly read their Scriptures or is a willing deceiver has told them things. And so when you get into this so-called Christian religion, Christianity has nothing to do with following Christ. If you were to follow our Messiah, if you were following our Mashiach, then you would follow the laws, statutes, and commandments that he followed, that he taught, that he told everyone else you should follow. So if you truly are a follower of Christ, then this once saved, always saved, and nailing the laws to the cross, that means you're a follower of Hasatan. So really, it should be a Devilston. I don't even know what the religion should be, but it's not Christian. It's just Devilston is what it is when you think that the laws of our Creator are on the cross. Now, it's hard to break through this programming. It is absolutely hard, because right out of the gate, people either have a bias because they believe something that they were taught somewhere else and they can't get through this bias, or something changes in them. But a lot of people, like the parables that we always hear, Messiah says that the seeds go on ground that is barren or rocky, and it springs up and it dies because the sun bakes on it, and like the word is never heard. And I see it so many times that people will hear the word, they accept the word, but it becomes a little too tricky for their lives. Like they've decided that it's better off that they take their kids to their Saturday ball games, or they do stuff on the Saturdays, because it just tears their family apart because they can't do the stuff the rest of the Gentiles do. Which is, it's funny because we're told not to do what the world does, not to do what the Gentiles do. So when you're sitting there playing soccer games on a Saturday because all the other kids play their soccer games, and you're not man enough in your family to tell your family that, hey, we shouldn't be going out playing these games on a Shabbat. That's not what we should be doing, right? It takes a leader of the family to make this happen. And a lot of times the leaders of the family won't do it. And what they're doing is they're dooming their families to hell, because they will carry on with the stuff they do, and they will just let their kids go rogue and go amok on this stuff. So it's very, very important that we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. It's Yah's ways. It's not our ways. And we don't want to tempt him. We don't want to serve other Elohim. And when we do all these other things, when you're saying that the laws are dead, you're serving other Elohim. You are doing the doctrination of what Satan wants everyone to do. And that's the greatest trick he's ever done, is to get people to think that the laws of our Creator are gone. That is an amazing trick when it comes down to scriptures. Now, continuing on here, where are we at, guys? Women's time of separation, guys. Stay away from them during their time. There are rules and regulations.
Oh, but yeah, who has hygiene laws?
Keep the Day of Atonement, Yom HaKippurim.
Do not uncover the nakedness of your family.
Do not take your woman's sister for wife.
Do not lie with a woman in her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice your children to Moloch.
Do not be a sodomite.
Be Kodesh.
Do not reap the corners of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard.
Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
Pay your workers for the day's wages they are due.
Do not harm the disabled.
Do not endanger your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother.
Rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not divert your cattle.
Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle linen and wool.
Do not lie with a taken woman.
Do not eat the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard at the corners of your head.
Do not cut yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Hold on, I'm past this. I was reading chat here. What did that say, Mr. Cole?
Okay, daughter of Abraham. She wants to know, what about people who say that a woman should work in a career and contribute financially to the household?
Well, I mean, those are all thoughts of the new current day, right? I mean, if you look through scriptures, you don't find any accounts of the women out there working. And you know, this is one of these things that if you say stuff like a woman should be in the kitchen, everybody's gonna like pick up their rocks and chuck them at you. And you have the women that are the new school women that all of a sudden it becomes a shame, something you're ashamed of if you're taking care of your family. But it's the thing about the same thing about the educational system that goes with it, right? We've never been told in scriptures ever to hand your kids over to the government indoctrination schools. If there's one way to completely destroy your children for all times is put them in a 12-year indoctrination camp, and they'll walk out as mindless zombies, slaves, tax-paying citizens, ready to go to college and spend some more money that they'll never ever use and get a degree they will never use, right? It is unbiblical. It is also unbiblical that the women go out there and start working. And I'm not saying it is wrong. There's absolutely, definitely times, especially when we are in the world we're in. There's a lot of you guys out there that are raising kids by yourself, right? And what else are you supposed to do? Bag? There's no other way for it. But as far as what a functioning, happy family should look like is the man should go out there raising the bread up, busting the move that it is, and you bring it home. And the wife is taking care of the kids, supporting the house, supporting all of this. It is a hard job. Guys, women do not get enough respect. They do not get enough props. And those women who are cooking that fresh meal for their men, they are saints. And that is something that you look in this kind of world right now, and it's like, oh, women should have to cook for their men or something or so, or it's bad that the woman is in the kitchen. Yeah, it's a part of the life, right? You're in the kitchen, you're in the house, you're in the laundry room, you're running a business as a female for the house, which is all part of everything we're supposed to do. But if you find there's not a single spot in scriptures where Abraham sent his wife out to go work and he decided, I'm going to have her do it. I'm going to sit in the tent. I'm going to raise the kids. That didn't happen. We don't have any precedent of that. So the way that our Creator has built everything is that the husband is the worker, the bigger, stronger worker who is able to do things that the little women are not able to do functionally. And that's not a slam, guys. I'm not saying this is like women are weak. Women are the strongest piece of the entire family. In fact, a good woman is absolutely the glue that will hold a family together. But we have roles. And when we take out of those roles, when we start shaving our heads and shipping our women off to the military, or they basically, you have a whole bunch of kids that have become latchkey kids, and your kids are all up in prison because you decided you were going to get that extra money instead of taking care of your kids. These are all things that would be called generational curses. You're going to bring your family into jeopardy because we're not going with how our Creator wanted us to do this. What else we got?
All right, you have a few of them.
I'm
here.
sure I do after that rant. Sorry, guys. Here we go.
Proverbs 31, women work.
Proverbs 31, yeah, man. There's the Proverbs 31 woman, yeah, absolutely. But she is the Proverbs 31. Is she out there? I mean, what is she working
Well,
in?
hold on.
Make clothes, isn't she?
She's trying to close the
Stella
sign at
says,
the
what about
gates.
the woman in Proverbs 31 who buys a field or makes woven scarves for the merchants?
Who are, that's I'm not saying this is the exact thing, but at the end of the day, you're listening to some dude named Solomon, and Solomon is the greatest warlock of all times, and people taking like Proverbs as complete doctrine. Okay, well, this is the way it is. Guys, Solomon was a Satanist. Solomon was a complete warlock. He was he conjured demons. This was the Freemason, the greatest Freemason of all times was Solomon. So the perfect harmony inside a family is this. And the woman that's selling the field, her husband probably went off to war and he died or something of the sort. And she's out there just doing whatever it takes. And again, there will be situations that you will absolutely need to do where the woman rises up and the woman does all this. And I don't think it's wrong, but in a perfect community where the husband is reigning in the house, that's what I think from scriptures. Now,
Sister Barb says selling goods from home is probably, and then plant a garden in the field.
yeah, those are good. This is what people are talking about here is like, you get your woman all dressed up, duded up, kick her out with her high heels and have her go work among the men, and she's bringing home the bacon while you're sitting at home with the kids, right? And again, that some situations may account for that. I'm not throwing axes or stones at anything. I'm simply just mentioning that the perfect harmony is always where the women raise the kids and the man is taking care of the woman.
Daughter of Abraham has another question. Was Beersheba the one who created Proverbs 31 woman, and was Proverbs 31 woman even real?
Beersheba. I don't know. Beersheba was.
Was the one who created Proverbs 31?
I don't think. I mean,
so.
this is all attributed to Solomon. Everything in Proverbs is considered is basically attributed to Solomon. So I don't know about Beersheba on any of that. Was the Proverbs 31 woman ever real? My wife's a Proverbs 31 woman. She absolutely does all this stuff. I've met a tremendous amount of you gals out there who are Proverbs 31 women, who are literally the glue that holds their families together. And so there's lots of Proverbs 31 women out there. So continuing on, what else we got?
Rick says he has a question about Shalom.
Oh, Bathsheba. It's Bathsheba. She's talking about Bathsheba, not Beersheba. Bathsheba,
Okay.
Solomon's mom. I don't know. I think everything has been attributed to that. I mean, there's maybe some historians out there that might have something
She
more.
went out and cheated. I don't know if she's.
Bathsheba, yeah, she did. Bathsheba lost. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. King David was doing some crazy stuff with her. Okay, what do we have?
I think that's it.
Is that
for
it?
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lifestyle, yeah. We're gonna feel the imbalance having to work outside. Yeah, okay. Same stuff here. Yeah, no worries. Daughter of Abraham. I gotcha. But I don't have an answer to that. Okay. Let's continue on. Where are we at? Do not cut yourself for the dead.
I think we were on do not prostitute your daughter.
That's a good one.
I must say.
Don't prostitute your daughter.
Do not defile your temple.
Do not consult the medium. Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures.
Do not walk in the manners of the nation.
Keep the feast of first fruit, Shavuot, Omer Count, Pentecost. Keep the feast of trumpets, Yom Torah.
Keep the feast of Sukkot, Shimni Atzeret, and Shimni Atzeret.
If you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill your neighbor's animal, you must give him another. Repay injury for injury.
Honor Yovel, the Jubilee year.
Confess your sins to Yahuwah and repay who you have trespassed against. The Torah of being a Nazir.
And wear season on the four corners of your garments.
The laws of whoever touches a corpse. Follow Yahuwah's law of inheritance.
The Torah of keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word. Guard your soul.
Okay, guys, there's two important ones right here, right now. It's worthy of discussion, right? Do not take away from the word. Any time that we get these things, say for instance, all food has been made clean, that's and so every time that somebody tells you this, food's been made clean, or Jesus is your Sunday worship, or Jesus is your new Shabbat, that's all taking away and adding to the word. This is why you don't want to be a Christian. You don't want to be in anything that's called religion. If somebody says, hey, I got a religion for you, and this is what our religion does, you want to get rid of it. right? Torah keeping is not a religion. It's a way of life. And when you realize that it is a good life and that every single thing that we are reading is immaculate, right? If those who want to get rid of the laws, take a dart and throw it and start hitting the laws and then explain to me why you would want to get rid of this, right? If the laws mean nothing, then we have this law that says do not add or take away from the word. That doesn't make any, that, there we go. And so if we don't have this law, all of a sudden we can become Talmudic Jews because they add 200 other books to this word. We can be the Mormons. They add their own books to it. The Christians add all their books. Every single denomination of so-called satanic religion has their own man-made rules, doctrines, guides, and all this trash that everybody comes up believing. And they will actually take a man-made doctrine and go, okay, I am a Protestant, and I'm a Protestant because I believe this, 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 and this. That makes me me. But nobody will read the scriptures and go, you know what? I'm a Yisraelite. I'm a from the house of Yisrael. That's the house I want to be in, because people don't read their scriptures. And it goes on to the next one of guarding your soul, which is what I tell everybody in the chains. All my brothers and sisters, I said, look, we have a chance at eternity. We have a way right now, regardless of where we're at, we can come up from this evil, this depravity, this life without the Torah, and we can find this life. And that's what guarding your soul is about. It's about reading these scriptures, these laws that we are reading right now, and applying them to your life, right? The next one is learn to fear Yahuwah. Do you think eating pork rinds and eating unclean foods is fearing Yahuwah? Is worshiping on the day that he says not to? What about not keeping any of his appointed times? What about Passover? We're keeping Easter, we're keeping Christmas, we're keeping Thanksgiving, but we don't keep the appointed times of our Creator. There's no fear. Right? And we need to understand that that same Creator who created us in a great fashion can simply have us leave this world in such a state that our body decays and it can be a very, very bad ending. This is why we shouldn't tempt our Creator. There's no reason to do it. He has some things in mind that could completely be out of our minds, out of our ways, which could be the way of our demise. And so it's better right now to get our hook, line, and sinker into the Torah, into the ways of our Creator, and it shows on the next command that we should love Yahuwah with all our heart. When we say that the laws are dead, they don't matter, do you imagine what our Creator, what the Father says, what he thinks about this? Oh, you're saying that everything I have said means nothing and you're putting it on the death of my son? I guess the world's lucky I am not Yahuwah, because that would make me enough angry. I'd be blowing everybody off there. Nobody would make it as long as they have. It would just be little burn spots all over the place, including myself. Continuing on. Bind the laws upon our hand and the frontlets between our eyes. This means that everything that we do in our life, in our world, must be done through the eyes of the Torah. Continue on.
Write the laws on your doorposts.
Do not tempt Yahuwah.
Do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah.
Circumcise your heart.
Cleave to Yahuwah.
Swear by his name.
Destroy graven images.
Do not make an idol of Yahuwah, as the pagans do to their Elohim.
Rejoice in all Yahuwah has blessed you with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes.
Do not hearken to the words of the false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
You shall not eat any abominable thing.
You shall give to a stranger clean food that dies of itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Give tithe of your increase of seed year by year.
Laws of the end of the 7-year release.
Do not borrow from the nations.
Do not harden your heart nor shut your hand from the poor.
Guard one of Yahuwah's calendar.
3 times a year all males shall appear before Yahuwah.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not plant Asherah poles near the altar.
There must be 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken as the prophet Yahuwah has chosen.
Prophet test of Deuteronomy.
Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
How to deal with the false witness among Torah keepers.
First childs get double portions.
If your brother's cattle or clothes are lost and you find them, you must return them.
A woman shall not wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest, the mother and the babies, or eggs, take the babies from out the mother.
If you build a new house with a flat roof that you lived on, you must put a railing around it.
Do not be a prostitute.
Do not use dirty money.
The law of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for a pledge.
If you lend to your brother, do not enter his house to get your payment. He has bring it to you. Return his clothing before sunset if that was his pledge.
Do not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not go back to the God and sheep in the field, be it for the stranger, fatherless, and widow.
Do not muzzle your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you shall take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
The end of 7 years you will read the Torah at the Feast of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles.
All right, so here we are, guys, just getting caught up here in the chat. And unfortunately, to read this, I have to take the chat off. And because YouTube technology is not as good as it should be. I can never get the chat back. Example right here. I'll try to bring it back right here, and it will never come back. So that's the last I get to see you guys on the screen. But I still got you on my phone here. So guys, keep on the questions coming, keep the comments coming, and we will address them as we get through this. Okay, we are heading back into the Torah. And for those who have been reading with us for as long as you guys have been reading with us, we've been reading for years and years and years. But for those who are on this, they've been reading through us on the Shabbat. We do one chapter every single week, and we start off in Genesis, and I don't know how many different weeks we are, but we're into this years at this point, it seems. And so, Jade, Numbers 5, give me a quick breakdown of where we came from the days of Moses to this days now. Give everyone a quick breakdown.
So we started in captivity in Egypt. We had a guy named Moses come around. He was the servant of Yahuwah. He came around about 80 years old, and he came and freed the people. He destroyed Egypt with plagues at Yahuwah's command. He freed the people. There lost a whole bunch more Egyptians died in the Red Sea because they're trying to chase them. And then Yisrael made it out of Egypt. They were finally free, but they had to go through wars and fight people for lands. They took out some giants. And then they also got some commands. They said, do not make any idols and do not serve any other mighty ones. And they were afraid of Yahuwah because he was thundering and lightning as he was talking on top of the mountain. And they said, Moses, can you please talk with Yahuwah yourself? We're scared. So Moses went up to the top of the mountain, and he was there 40 days and 40 nights. And when he came back down, he heard these people partying. He thought it was a war, but it was partying. They were worshiping a golden calf. So he had to kill a whole bunch of people. Went back up the mountain, got the commands because he broke the stones that Yahuwah had given him. And then he went and found new stones. Yahuwah wrote on them again. He learned a whole bunch of new commands for us to follow. And he also got blueprints for the temple and the ark and all these things they created in Exodus. And then in Leviticus, we learned about the priests, what they should do, what their job is, how their sacrifices should be, and what exactly they had to do so they do not break their commands. And we also got some more commands for us on what to eat, what to do, what we should do. And now we are in the days of Numbers, where it is just literally numbers. We are numbering every single tribe, numbering the army, and last week we numbered the Levites.
Okay, all right. So to everybody listening in on this, much love. Thank you all. Let us begin. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, command the children of Israel to send out of the camp every leper and everyone who has a discharge and whoever becomes defiled for a being. Okay, there's a lot to be said in this one single verse because we learn a lot about how our Creator wants his people. So right out of the gate, we don't want the lepers, right, in the camp directly with us. And it's not to say we don't want the lepers, but we don't want the lepers to disease everybody. So the lepers are sent out. Everybody who has a discharge, this is a big thing. And people should need to realize this, that discharge is one of these things that makes us unclean. And so there's a lot of things in our life that we would not want to get dirty for. And to understand how our Creator wants a clean people, this is it. So in our life, in this thing, when things like this happen, we have a discharge or we become defiled, we are still defiled until evening, right? We are still defiled until we wash and then we become clean. And a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people don't get the whole clean and unclean thing. What we have to understand is that our Creator was literally walking amongst his people in a cloud by day, fire by night, inside of the temple, coming out from between the cherubim, talking to Moshe, talking to Joshua, talking to the people in a physical form. For him to be there and for the corruption that humans have, it's hard for humans to stay clean. It is hard for us. Things, dirty thoughts, bad thoughts, evil speak, all of these things are things that will corrupt us and make us unclean. So how did our Creator deal with this stuff? Well, that's why he gave us sacrifices. That's why he basically made the animals a scapegoat, an atonement for our sins. Instead of us being slaughtered just so that we could be holy enough to hang around our Creator, he gave a set of accountability. And it's not that he's a bloodletting, bloodthirsty individual. He was doing this simply so that we were clean enough that he would walk amongst us as long as he did. And this is how he wants us to behave. This is how he wants us to operate. And so in our daily lives, when we have things of this nature, understand that we are still dirty. And what this does when we are dirty in this thing, like for instance, you had a discharge, you're going outside the temple, you're going outside the gates till you figure this out, until whatever happens. You're trying to get yourself back into a place to where you are in alignment with our Creator. And that's what all of this is about, is to be in alignment to where He wants us to be so that we can walk with Him and He will walk with us in a physical form. 3, send out both male and female, send them outside the camp so that they do not defile their camps in the midst of which I dwell. And the children of Israel did so, to send them outside the camp, as Yahuwah has spoken to Moshe. So the children of Israel did. Okay, so a whole bunch of people probably at that time all of a sudden just got this down, and a whole bunch of people were probably just taken outside the camp. Like, look, you got a discharge, men and women. You got some problems going on. You guys are unclean, and it's time to go. It's time to go outside the camps. And the good thing is our Creator has a set of Levites back in these days that were essentially the doctors. These were, I don't know so much they even had doctors back in the day, but the Levites were the doctors. They were the people that when you had skin issues, you had problems, you had leprosy, they're the ones who decided if you were clean or not clean. They're seeing if your leprosy was moving alongside your house, was actually like defiling your house. These are the people. These are physical doctors for us. Continuing on. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe saying, speak to the children of Israel. When a man or woman commits any sin that men commit in trespass against Yahuwah, and that being is guilty, then they shall confess their sin with which they have done, and he shall restore his guilt in his principal, plus 1/5 of it, and give it to whom he has been guilty. Okay, so this is how to deal with problems that we have done, right? When we committed any sin, we trespassed against Yahuwah, when we put our neighbor in danger, when we have done evil things, all of these things, we need to confess. We need to repent. That's why we're always in repentance. That's why we're always learning from our past and trying not to become the same dude that we used to be. It's an ever evolving line to get to the kingdom. We all of our humanity has to be changing. We have to atone ourselves and we have to align ourselves into what it looks like to be in the kingdom to come. That's our goal. Continuing on. 8. But if the man has no relative to restore the guilt to, the guilt which is restored goes to Yahuwah for the Kohen, in addition to the ram of atonement with which atonement is made for him. And every contribution of all the Kodesh gifts of the children of Israel, which they bring to the Kohen, becomes his. And every man's Kodesh gifts become his. Whatever any man gives a Kohen becomes his. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any man's wife turns aside and has committed a trespass against him, and a man has intercourse with her and is hidden from the eyes of her husband, and it is concealed that she has defiled herself, and there is no witness against her, nor was she caught, and a spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he becomes jealous of his wife who has defiled herself, or a spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he becomes jealous of his wife, although she has not defiled herself, then the man shall bring his wife to the Kohen, and he shall bring the offering for her, 1/10 of an ephah of barley flour. He is not to pour oil on it or put frankincense on it, because it is a grain offering of jealousy, an offering for remembering, for bringing wickedness to remembrance. This is a big thing here, right? A lot of guys will get extremely jealous, sometimes for a reason, and sometimes just what dudes are. They're a little bit jealous of certain things, right? So we had an issue back in the days, right? A woman either defiles herself and it's not made known, and somehow there is some sort of a spirit of jealousy, or there's that little underlying voice that tells you something is not all right. And guys, it is a big deal. Adultery in the Torah world is a huge deal. If you were married and you had if you committed adultery, your marriage is done. You are never to go back into that mate. You're never ever supposed to go to them. That is the entire part. When you commit adultery, either the male or the female, then you are bringing sin upon your partner, the one that does that. And so this is where it is a huge, huge thing. And so we're talking about a situation here right now that's like something that this guy's maybe just a little paranoid or something of the sort, but we're trying to figure out how it is do we deal with this kind of a problem. And it was obviously a big enough problem that there are rules and regulations made up for it. So let's talk about the problem and how we deal with it. And the Kohen shall bring her near, and shall make her stand before Yahuwah. And the Kohen shall take Kodesh water in an earthen vessel, and take some of the dust that is on the floor of the Mishkan, and put it into the water. And the Kohen shall make the woman stand before Yahuwah, and shall uncover the woman's head, and put the offering for remembering in her hands, which is the grain offering of jealousy, while the Kohen holds in his hand the bitter water that brings a curse. And the Kohen shall make her swear and say to the woman, if no man has lain with you, and if you have not turned aside to uncleanness unto your husband, be free from this bitter water that brings a curse. But if you have turned aside unto your husband, and if you have defiled yourself, and some man other than your husband has lain with you, then the Kohen shall make the woman swear with the oath of the curse, and he shall say to the woman, Yahuwah make you a curse and an oath among your people. When Yahuwah makes your thigh waste away and your abdomen swell, and this water that causes the curse shall go into your inward parts, and make your abdomen swell and your thigh waste away, and the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. Okay, what do you guys make of this? Anyone? I know this is some hardcore stuff. A lot of people probably never heard this stuff before.
I mean, this is what happened back in the day to Jude. How it worked, I have no idea.
Yeah, but what about a jealous husband? How's this woman deal with this?
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing.
Well, I mean, how would a woman, if a woman thought that her husband was out doing the adultery side of this, what do you think would, how do we rectify something of this sort?
They would stone him. They would stone the cheater back in the day.
If you were able to be caught. See, everything has to be established at the behest of multiple witnesses. 2 or more witnesses is where a situation is established. But this is an interesting thing right here, because this is one of these things that, number one, if your woman is innocent and you bring her before the Kohen and you make her drink this water, I'm going to guess that your marriage is probably going to be jacked up probably for the rest of your days. Like that little trust issue that you and your wife had or whatever it was, if there was anything left in your marriage, it's probably going to be not so good. Because this is one of these things that there was probably a tremendous amount of innocent women and a lot of really paranoid husbands. And a lot of times, there's unclean spirits that will completely make your mind go crazy. Put things in that you didn't see. Your wife smiled at somebody, all of a sudden it's on. Oh, she must be doing this, she must be cheating or doing something of the sort. But this is an interesting thing, that there was obviously enough issues going on back in the days that there was some kind of remedy. Because if you didn't have a remedy for this and you're sitting there thinking your entire life your woman's out there cheating on you, you didn't have a way to address this and to make it right, it would probably be worse than bringing a woman before the Kohen. But I'm still going to be saying that probably if your wife is innocent and you have done this, it's going to be some bad days. You're probably on the couch for the rest of your life. I don't know. But she's probably not just going to be, okay, hey, are you good? Thanks a lot for this. I appreciate you bringing me before all the priests. Because I'm sure all the priests talk, and everybody sees that Charles's wife is now with the priests over this kind of thing. I'm sure it was like a big thing. So obviously not something you want to be caught up in. But to understand that adultery is a horrible, horrible thing. Guys, marriage is one man, one woman. You don't want to destroy your marriage. You don't want to destroy your wife. You don't want to destroy your husband. There is not, I'm telling you, the grass that is on the other side of the field has all been sprayed with Roundup. So when you're out there and you're just chowing down this great green grass, you're like, oh man, this brings back me to the youth. Guys, you're going to get sick. This stuff's going to make you completely sick. You shouldn't be drinking the Roundup, and you should not be eating the grass on the other side of the fence. What you got to do is you got to install your sprinkler system on the other side of the fence that you're on, and you need to start watering it, tending it, mowing the lawn, keeping it all nice and neat, building these families, giving your wife love, keeping the family together, and all these things. And pretty soon, you're not going to want to look over the fence. The fence is disgusting. And when you are in a Torah-based relationship and you look at the other side of the fence and you look at all these raging Gentiles that are living in their spandex, that are walking around in their like no questions barred, you know exactly what they look like simply because every single crease has like a piece of latex or something inside of it. It's terrible, right? People are dressing terrible, terrible, terrible. So guys, build your families, keep modest. Women, keep your eyes on your men. Men, absolutely keep your eyes on your women. Talk to them, love them, build these families up, and do something that nobody else is doing, right? There's nobody out there that's building families. There's nobody out there increasing the love of their family and making your family strong. And the easiest way to destroy it is by letting your eyes wander off into something that, at the end of the day, you'll probably end up with STDs, right? You'll probably end up with some horrible thing because you have gone across the side of the fence and you're going to ruin everything in your life because of one moment of trash. And it is trash. And that's all you will find on the other side of the fence is trash. Continuing on. Anything? Anyone in there?
The grand had a question, I think, for somebody.
Yeah, pornography. Let me just go to that. Weezer HK, I think. Who's that? Heidi. Heidi says pornography destroys a marriage as well. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. If you are involved in pornography, guys, I would absolutely encourage you guys to stop defiling yourself and defiling your body. I was watching a psychologist the other day, and he was talking about the act of, how do I say it right? The act of pornography and masturbation. And exactly what happens is that every single time that you do that, number one, you're violating the laws of our Creator. You are becoming an adulterer, and you have made your spouse an adulterer. Whether you're a man or female, you have screwed yourself over for all time. It's a one single act, it's one single moment, but you have literally defiled yourself beyond this. Now let's talk about this. 100 years ago, even the most dignified man that was a playboy back in the day, 100 years ago, would have never been with the amount of women that you can do a single pornography search with. If you want to completely defile yourself looking at nudity and looking at all this and acting out in this, guys, think about what 100 years ago was like, right? The greatest of the playboys would never ever have been with the same kind of amount of women that you can visualize on one single page of corruption. And that's all it is, guys. It's 100% corruption. Now, back to the psychologist. He was talking about every time you do this act, the dopamines and the things that are going on in your brain by simply completing this act, it takes over. Like that pornography is not a one-time act. You're good for about 50 seconds, and 5 minutes later, you're sitting there cruising the girls again, trying to figure out what's next for your life. And you are becoming a monster. Monsters are completing your mind and your soul, and you will never find the kingdom if you are sitting there living in adultery. You will never find a good marriage. You will never ever find the love of your life. Look, that's the thing, is guys are notorious for looking over the other side of the fence, looking for the next best thing. And women are too. Women are not innocent in any of this stuff. But the best way that you will ever fall in love with the most beautiful woman that you're sitting next to is by loving her, talking to her, enjoying her presence, becoming best friends. That's everything to this. And that's what relationships are supposed to be. When you are doing pornography, you are cheating. You're cheating straight up. You are cheating against the laws of our Creator, and you're cheating on a woman or a man who shocked and stunned if they knew that kind of act and that you were participating in that. Guys. So guys, take care of your marriages. Take care of your wives. Get rid of this trash. 100 years ago was less temptation than there is right now. And when we had these losers like Larry Flint and all these people that own Playboy and set up all this stuff, and then they got TVs in every house, and they got cell phones in every kid's hands, they have pornography everywhere. You can't even watch ads on YouTube without some sort of softcore porn. It is disgusting. We're called to be set apart people, and we need to make sure that we are not into pornography. 23. And the Kohen shall write these curses in a book, and shall wipe them off into the bitter water, and shall make the woman drink the bitter water that brings a curse, and the water that brings a curse shall enter into her and become bitter. And the Kohen shall take the grain offering of jealousy from the woman's hand, and shall wave the offering before Yahuwah, and bring it to the altar. And the Kohen shall take a hand filled with the offering as this remembrance offering, and burn it on the altar, and afterward make the woman drink the water. Now, my guess is you have, in this certain situation, is you would have women that were just ecstatically bawling. If your husband went to this disregard and drug you publicly before these people because of this, the husband's obviously very, very mad at you and not thinking correctly, or has a reason for such a thing. But it's not going to go down well, right? This isn't going to be everybody walking to the movie theater laughing and holding hands. Okay, here, wife, go to the Kohen. I think you're cheating on me. Let's see what's up. Now you drink the defiled water, right? Because in the event that she was an adulterer and she drank this water, then everybody in Yisrael is going to know. She's going to get very, very sick. Thighs, I mean, she's not going to have kids. I mean, there's going to be a lot of problems. So this is not only just a spectacle of your wife, but it's also a deterrent for those who would be thinking of doing such a bad thing. 27. And when he has made her drink the water, then it shall be, if she has defiled herself and has committed a trespass against her husband, that the water that brings the curse shall enter her and become bitter, and her abdomen shall swell, and her thigh shall waste away, and the women shall become a curse, and the woman shall become a curse amongst her people. But if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, then she shall be clear and shall conceive children and probably kill her husband. I'm just adding that to it. I broke commandments by doing that, but I'm thinking this is not going to go well, right? I don't think any of that, I don't know how you would ever repair a relationship under this kind of a problem. 29. This is the Torah of jealousy. When a wife turns aside under her husband and defiles herself, or when a spirit of jealousy comes upon a man and he becomes jealous of his wife. Then he shall make the woman stand before Yahuwah, and the Kohen shall do to her all this Torah. And the man shall be clear from wickedness, but the woman bear her wickedness. So the thing about the very last verse on this thing, it says a man shall be cleared from wickedness. The thing is, if the woman had cheated on him simply going back into her has made him an adulterer. And he has brought sin upon himself. And for every other woman that he's ever with, or whatever wife he has, he's now an adulterer. He's now making his wife an adulterer. Guys, we're just passing the adulterer cup on, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know, the men and women are literally sluts of the world today. I mean, it is a bad thing. The children at 10, 11 years old, they're all promiscuous. They're all doing all this crazy stuff. There's no such thing as the secrets of sex anymore. It's all out into the world. Everybody knows it. You know, the things are supposed to be safe for the marriage bed. And most people never ever make it to the marriage bed. Most people never even care. And so this is the world we are in, and why we are absolutely got to be on the precipice of our Messiah coming back. It's just really, really bad. And you know, if he doesn't come back, I don't think there's going to be much flesh left at this point. It's everyone's pretty much corrupted. All right, let us continue into our book here. Mark, who wants to?
Hold on before you go there.
All right, what do you got?
Daughter of Abraham, so that I understand. Once a man or a woman commits adultery, must the marriage end?
Yeah, absolutely. According to the Torah, you would not go back into that spouse. That is the thing about cheating on your husband or wife, is that it is a marriage killer. It's done. I mean, I guess you could still have a marriage but not be promiscuous. You wouldn't even be in there. But that's the thing why I'm always telling other people you need to be faithful in your marriage. And a lot of us have come from marriages. A lot of times our spouses have cheated on us. And you know, you have the Christians and they're like, oh, let's just forgive them. Everybody's forgivable. And there was a lot of contention. We've lost people on this channel because everybody's like, oh no, you can be an adulterer and it can still continue on. It doesn't say that in the scriptures. If you have a marriage and you have cheated on your wife, you have nullified your marriage. It is over. It is game over. Same for the wife. If you want it to continue, then you're simply bringing sin upon your spouse and back on you. Right? It's not supposed to be. You're not supposed to have multiple bedmates. It's not supposed to happen like that. And when you have an act of defiling yourself in such a fashion, the marriage is over. It's game over. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people that were like, well, whatever. But when you read Torah, there's no other way that I've ever seen this. And so stay clean, stay faithful to your spouse. Did you give me a rundown of this?
We're going to recap market.
Okay.
You're going to do your recap, Mark.
Recap, Mark, anyone.
So we are in the early days of Yehoshua. He has birth. He went around. He's already healing people. He met John the Baptist. And then in the last chapter, we learned about him healing on Shabbat. The Pharisees are already in chapter 4, and the Pharisees are already after him. He is healing on Shabbat, and they were upset about it, but he told them that it was better to do good than to do evil, to save a life better than to kill. And so he is going around doing miracles and wondrous works already in the beginning of Mark.
Okay. We're going back to daughter of Abraham. What if they divorce and remarry each other? That's not it. Once you're divorced, once you have gone to the bed of somebody else, it's over, right? You should not be with that person. And I know that goes against a lot of people out there that are already in other marriages or that have like gone through the divorce and gotten remarried, things of this nature. I'm just saying, according to what the scriptures say, if you were in bed and you exited the bed to another bed, you are no longer, and your spouse is no longer qualified for you. You have made that decision. And so, yeah, according to the Torah, your marriage is gone. That's just the way it is. And so, yeah, and also, like Rebecca said as well, like if in the old times, in the Torah days, you would be dead. You wouldn't actually have another marriage, right? If you went and you cheated on your husband and they found out, they would take the guy that cheated and you, and they would take you outside the city gates and they would pick up the rocks and kill you both. It would probably be quick ending compared to life on death row, but that is what you're supposed to do. You wouldn't be alive to get married again. So continuing on. Yes, Sister Barb is, I'm not sure what medical stuff that you guys are talking about in here, but I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, yeah, don't, these guys in coats, man, they mess you up. Okay, so here we are, guys, Mark 4, the words of our Messiah. And he began to teach again by the sea, and a large crowd was gathered to him, so that he entered into a boat to sit in the sea. And all the crowd was on the land facing the sea. Now, I talk about this during the week a lot because our Messiah Yahushua, there were no J's in Hebrew. The man's name is not Jesus. We will use his Hebrew name, which is Yahushua. Some say Yeshua. It's closer than the word Jesus. He was a celebrity in every way, shape, and form, to the point where he couldn't even just stand on the edge of the sea because people would flong on him. He has to get in a boat and cruise out a little bit so that people are able to gather around him. That's the kind of celebrity that we have, and that's the kind of leader that we have. He is the ultimate leader, and why he's very much qualified to lead us in the kingdom to come. 2, and he taught them in parables and said to them in his teaching, listen, a sower went out to sow, and it came to be as he sowed. Some fell by the wayside, and the birds of the Shamayim came and devoured it. And other fell on rocky places where it had not much soil, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of soil. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And other fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no crop. And other fell on good soil and yielded a crop that came up, grew, and yielded a crop, some 30-fold, and some 60, and some 100. And he said to them, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. Okay, now he's going to explain this parable, but I will explain it prior to Messiah explaining this to everyone, because this is the same thing that we get all the time on the Yahoo and the Torah channel, and especially as I'm writing my brothers and sisters in chains. The brothers and sisters in chains are, number one, they're very, very receptive, most of them. However, I have seen this happen. I've seen it happen quite a bit, and the one thing on death row that the guys on death row definitely don't want to let go of is you. Right? Once they establish somebody they like as a pen pal, and these guys have been in there 35 years or 25 years or something of the sort, you could say whatever you want to say, and they may not say something contrary to it, and they probably wouldn't, because they enjoy having your conversation there as much. But I have seen a tremendous amount of guys, and I can give you lists of guys' names where the word has fallen on good soil, and it got embedded, and the lights turned on, and these guys have fallen to their knees. The guys are wearing seats in the darkest depths of death row prisons there are. But there's other guys that, they have this thing called the faith-based system. And just like all the Satanists that are out there trying to convince everybody to raise your hand at 8 years old and get saved, that's the same thing they do in these prisons. And so they take these men that have already been convicted and their lives are pretty much over. Some dudes have 2 60-year life term sentences. A lot of guys have natural life. And then they have the faith-based system. Not only has the devil taken their world that they walk on right here, but he's also trying to take them so they don't protect their soul. He's giving them the inability to not guard their soul, because it's the same rhetoric over and over and over. Raise your hands, ask Jesus to forgive you. You'll always be saved. Our Father will never snatch your salvation out of the palm of his hand. But yet over and over and over, we read how the people that are lawless end up in hell. How the people that are judged on an evil way are those who don't care about the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator. So for all of us that are out there, for all of us that are just barely getting into Torah, be aware that the Creator and his Son know exactly how the faults of men are and how the wiles of this world are. And the devil will put things in our life that make reading scriptures an offshoot. Like all of a sudden we'll have power get shut off. We'll lose a part of our house. Well, our car's dead. Something blows, the engine, the block blows in the car. It's all dead. Everything changes. What do we do, right? Well, that's what the devil wants us to do. He wants us to take us with the problems of this world and plague us with such a thing that is hard to look forward and look to the eternity. But that's where the scriptures come in, because the scriptures tell us that this is going to be a testing ground, that every single day is going to be a trial and tribulation. And if you're a Torah keeper, guys, you are going to be shot at. You're in the fields. The Hasatan and legions of demons hate your guts. They hate our Creator. They want a group of rebels who are willing to throw the laws on the cross and throw their hands up in the air, firing guns everywhere, just like we're just straight up rebels, right? And that's not what it is to be. So guys, the word is the seed. We must protect that. If we have seed, we must throw some dirt over it. We must put some water on it and make sure it's able to grow. Continuing on. 10. And when he was alone, those about him with the 12 asked him about the parable. And he said to them, To you, it has been given to know the secret of the reign of Elohim. But to those who are outside, all are done in parables. So that seeing, they see, but do not perceive. And hearing, they hear, but do not understand, lest they should turn and their sins be forgiven them. Here's the big thing, right? When those who open their eyes to Torah all of a sudden are blind their entire life, and seeing, we can perceive. But when you say the laws of our Creator are dead or on the cross, they don't apply to you, then we're not perceiving what the Word is saying. Because there is no mystery to Scriptures. It really doesn't. When you read it from the first page all the way to the end by yourself, and you don't take people like me or anybody's words for it, because 99% of the people that are on YouTube are useless. They will tell you a way that does not exist to salvation as they collect money from you because you think they're some kind of spiritual leader. Very, very important to understand this. They're making a living off of lying to you. And whether or not they realize they're lying to you, they absolutely are, at the expense of your soul and at the expense of their soul. So let's make sure that we are the people that can perceive when we're seeing, and that when we hear, we understand. 13, Messiah says this, and he said to them, do you not understand this parable? How then shall you understand all the parables? And you can oftentimes see the frustration of our Messiah as he's working with his people, and they don't get it, right? Some may say these guys are maybe a little dense, or maybe they just don't see some of the stuff. And I'm sure they were smart to certain things, but all of us think we're smart when we're in religion, right? All of us think we know the way. We all have fought for the Christian way and for saving people and getting people to raise their hands and asking Jesus into their heart, which is all unbiblical. There's no place in there that we're asking Jesus into our heart. What do we mean asking him into our heart? What do we mean praying to Jesus? That does not exist in Scriptures. So Messiah browbeats these guys and he goes, listen, the sower sows the word. Who are the sowers? That's all of us, right? We're out there. We're throwing some seeds out there. Continuing on, he says, then these are the ones by the wayside where the word is sown. And when they hear, Satan comes immediately and takes away the word that was sown in their hearts. And likewise, these are the ones sown on rocky places, who when they hear the word, immediately receive it with joy, and they have no root in themselves, but are short-lived. Then when the pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately they stumble. And others are those sown among thorns. These are they who hear the word, and the riches of this age and the deceit of riches and the desires for their matters entering in choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. And those sown on good soil are those who hear the word and accept it and bear fruit, some 30-fold and some 60 and some 100-fold. And he said to them, would a lamp be brought to be put under a basket or under a bed? Is it not to be put on a lampstand? For whatever is hidden shall be revealed, and whatever has been kept secret shall come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. Okay, big stuff. A lot of stuff we can talk about, right? So those who are able to take the word, so say for instance you're in Christianity and someone like me goes, the laws are good for all times, all generations, all people, and if you want to be accepted in the kingdom to come, those are part of the requirements of what it takes. Some people hear that, right? Some people get real angry. Some people, Satan goes, listen, the laws are dead. This guy has a different way. And so it falls, it goes away. And all of a sudden you decide that, hey, you know what? Trinity Broadcasting Network's the way to go. My Sunday church keeping's the way to go. Paying my 10% is going to get me saved. And then all of a sudden we come to the day of accounting, on which day we take our very last breath. And not a single one of us know when that day of accounting is coming. For some of us, it could be tomorrow. For some of us, it could be 50 years from now. But at some point, we're all going to go to the day of accounting. We all are going to be judged upon the things that we have done and the things we have not done. So when we have a lamp, the lamp is the word of our Creator. That's why you're always hearing me out here. I'm cheering. You guys can hear me when I'm talking during the week. I'm always just really, really excited about this Torah because this is a lamp. When I found the lamp and I found the errors of my way and the errors of my Gentile ways, and I understood that there's something far more than anything that I ever had grasped by not reading the Scriptures, it's exciting. It is exciting that this world isn't the only world that we're in, that there's a Creator that has given us a path forward and a Messiah who's going to be a leader in this kingdom to come. It's something worth shouting. It is something worth telling everyone about and encouraging everybody to do this. And even the guys in prison that I throw my seed out there, the seed of the word is out there, and they hear it, but they don't want to listen to it, but they do want to listen to me. I still work them, guys. I still completely work them. And they're always like, man, thank you so much, Jason. I can never, ever repay you for all the stuff. And I'm always out there doing stuff for people, searching, looking, helping them out, various things. And it's the guys that I am uneventful with that they're very, very thankful to me. And they're like, man, I can never repay you. And I tell them, hey, the way you can repay me is by reading your scriptures from the very beginning as a love letter from our Creator to you, because someday, brother, I want to high five you. I want to give you big hugs, and it's not going to be in this world. You're on death row. I'm 5,000 miles away from you. We're never going to see each other in this world, but I guarantee you we can hang in eternity, just like all of you guys. We can have this family that we have right here, and it's going to be an exciting family because everybody's got the same goals. You're not going to have these people out there that are not Torah keepers. The fake rapture that the Christians sell is with a fake guy named Jesus honking this bus, and the side of the bus is lawless on it. And everybody's just waving from there, except they think it's going up, and that sucker's going straight down. And Jesus isn't who you think he's going to be. Continuing on. 23. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. And he said to them, take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you, and more shall be added to you who hear it. These are one of these things. The Christians love it. They're like, hey, judge not, lest you be judged. So you have all these Christians who are like sitting there pounding down their pork, and they see some dude molesting a little child, and they're like, well, I'm not going to say a word about that because you know what? You got to deal with it, right? That's how the Christians are. That is how they will do it. They see other people living in sin and deprivation, but we have a Torah command that says to rebuke our neighbor for their sins. We're not supposed to let sin go on in our dwelling, but when you have no laws, and I say it before, the Christians are the most dangerous people ever. Why? Well, because they don't have laws. They have 10 laws that they claim to keep, but one of them they definitely don't keep because that's the fourth commandment, which is keeping the Shabbat. And the rest of them, well, they're into pornography, so they're breaking the adultery command. So they're at best, people are 70, 60%. And if we are going to be judged by these same commandments and we're getting a 60%, that's an F, guys. That is a failure grade. That is depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Okay, continuing on. 25. For whoever possesses, to him more shall be given. But whoever does not possess, even what he possesses, shall be taken away from him. Big stuff, right, guys? Some of us have money because our Creator has allowed it. Some of us are dead broke because that's the way it's best for us and the best way that we will contain ourselves, right? But what we have been given, we need to shine the light of the kingdom. We need to yell, scream, shout, and we need to get anybody who will even look our way and start reading scriptures. Look, all we're doing is we are finding the foundational guide for life, and we have found it that we believe based upon scriptures, exactly in scriptures, and we really want other people to find it. There's a lot of people. When you see in Matthew this, most people don't make the kingdom, and there's 3 or 4 billion so-called Christians. How does that make any sense, right? Is 3 or 4 billion Christians really going to make the kingdom when the scriptures say most don't make it, that there's a wide path of destruction and most fall off into that? Continuing on, 26. And he said, the reign of Elohim is as when a man scatters seed on the ground, then sleeps by night and rises by day, while the seed sprouts and grows, he himself does not know how. For the soil yields crops by itself. First the blade, then the head, and after that the completed grain in the head. And when the crop is ready, immediately he puts in the sickle because the harvest has come. And he said, to what shall we compare the reign of Elohim? Or with what parable shall we present it? It's like a mustard seed, which when it is sown on the ground, it is smaller than all the seeds on earth. And when it is sown, it grows up and becomes greater than all plants and forms large branches so that the birds of the Shamayim are unable to nest under its shade. They are able to nest under its shade. Now, people don't understand this, right? Most people right now, the kingdom to come, doesn't mean anything, right? It is something insignificant. We have the trials and tribulations. We have our power bill, water bill, sewer bill. We have all our bills. We have month rent, lease, business leases, getting from point A to point B, everything going wrong, right? And so we have a world that just seems very, very complex to us. But yet we hear about this little place called the kingdom. And this little place called the kingdom is going to sprout. It is already sprouting. It is already becoming fruition. It is already coming to fruition. And we know of Mount Zion. We know that our Messiah is going to be reigning in Mount Zion. We know that the kingdom of Elohim is going to be the last standing place when everybody else is defeated and all the trash is moved to the dumpster, right? And so all of a sudden we have something that's insignificant to 99.99% of the world. And I would say that's true because I don't think there's a tremendous amount of Torah keepers. And even in Torah keepers, you don't find those who are true Torah keepers. And so what we don't think of as right now is going to grow to be the biggest, greatest thing ever. So if you want to be on the side of success, then we want to be hanging out with this tree, the mustard seed tree that's going to be growing, and we want to be under its shade. We want to be a part of all of this. 33. And with many such parables, he was speaking to them the word as they were able to hear. And he was not speaking to them without parables. And when they were alone, he explained all to his talmidim. And on the same day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us pass over to the other side." And having left the crowd, they took him along in the boat, as he was, and other boats, little boats, were also with him. And there came a great windstorm, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already being filled. And he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, is it no concern to you that we perish?" And having been awakened, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you not yet believed?" Guys, if you've never been in a boat, boats are crazy. Boats can sink you. Boats are one of these things, and especially back in the day, these guys were out there in this boat, and the wind was rocking them back and forth, and they are tripping out. And what do? Well, they go to the Messiah and goes, "Help, what are you doing?" And Messiah was just taking a cat nap. He was having a good old nap, enjoying the effects of his father's creation, which are naps. Naps are a great thing. And he gets woken up, and he probably looks, and he's probably like dazed and confused, looks around, everybody's tripping out, and he goes, "Peace, be still." That's it, 3 words. Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And everybody's sitting there. They look at Messiah, and they're like, whoa. 41, and they feared exceedingly, and asked each other, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" Well, this is our Messiah. This is our Creator's Son who has come. He's the Word made flesh. And when you say the Word made flesh, you have the Christians that are like, well, Jesus and Elohim are the same individuals. No, they weren't. Messiah says he's not the Creator. Our Creator says he's not the Messiah. It's not the same thing. And we can't confuse something that is very, very simple when you read Scriptures. If you believe the Trinity is real, you have been indoctrinated, my friends. Somebody has lied to you and you believe the lies. That does not exist in Scriptures anywhere, and so I'm sorry if that offends anybody out there. We offend everybody every single day on this channel. We don't mean to, but the truth sometimes hurts. And so with that, everybody, I think we have made it to the end. Mr. Cole, you have anything?
No.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, Rick's exactly right. Many will come and say, "Did we not cast out demons?" All these people, that's Matthew 7, right? People think they know our Messiah. And all the Christians are like, "Oh, Jesus says this. Jesus bless my pork." It's all about this really happy-go-lucky dude named Jesus who's lawless. And that's not the same guy in Scriptures. That's an inventation. That is something they have invented, and it doesn't exist. And so, guys, if you want the real Messiah, our real Messiah is a Torah-keeping, law-keeping individual who is a very qualified person that is very much a perfect priest for us. He's the perfect sacrifice, and he's the perfect leader. And the greatest thing that we could ever hear from him is, "Come on in. Loyal servant, come on in." So with that, everybody, we love you all very, very much. Jade, will you please bless our brothers and sisters?
Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift his face upon you and give you peace. Lest I'll put my name upon the children of Israel, and I myself shall barak them.
All right, everybody, we love you very, very much, and we will send you off.
Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down.
right, everybody. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May his light forever shine on you. May the Torah forever be involved in every last aspect of your life. May Messiah Yahushua be your Savior in your life forever. And may we all high five each other and give each other big hugs in the kingdom to come. Much love to you all.